Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is From the Depths. And we are in the design of this episode. This week, or certainly since over the weekend, been doing a lot of little work on some of the new advanced cannons that have been released in the 1.8 version of the game. That's only in dev tests for not everybody. So this episode we're not going to actually be using the advanced cannons, because until they're in the main branch there's still going to be a lot of changes happening, a lot of balancing needs happening and some other bits and pieces, but they are cool to play with. I can see a lot of cannon fire in the next few builds happening as soon as they are available. I've been playing with some rather large and interesting weapons just to get to know them and see what's possible. But in this episode, instead of playing with them, we're going to build a ship, aircraft actually, in preparation for a release of these cannons. So we're going to like preempt it a little bit, but use the custom cannon in the first place. So what I have a hankering to build is something that we're going to need in the next few areas, is a heavy fighter to take out large flying targets, is its main priority, and just something to have a muck around with. But the main area is I want to use something which I've not used in any of the previous builds really successfully. So we're going to have a look at custom jet engines, because that's an area that I've not really played with. I didn't need to actually in most cases. So we're going to build a largish fighter, not overly large. I want to keep it so it would go in as a couple of fighters in a battle as support against, you know, largish targets. We're going to base it at some point on having some sort of cannon system firing from it, which will be one of the advanced cannons. And you can see there's quite a few ones I've been mucking around with just to see how they all work, and having a bit of fun basically blowing the crap out of drones and other targets. And yeah, they do work quite well actually. But in the meantime, we're going to have this build of a ship. So let's get going with it and start with the basic build. So we're going to need our magic block. So let's go into build mode and then come up with our new vehicle. I'll just start it there and then take that up into the air. Now it's going to be a plane, and we're using a custom engine, but I want to make this reasonably fast, so the most of the build will end up being in alloy, I think. I'm going to start off with some metal, just because I'm going to have the main structure, like the skeleton of this, in metal. Which way is forwards? I've lost. That's forward, up that way. So that's the rear. So let's start here, and we will put a metal block in here. Yeah, I'm going to have most of the skeleton in a metal just for a bit of stability and strength. But after that, I think most of it will be in alloy, just for lightweight, because I would like to get this plane to go quite fast, quite simply. So let's look at how to build this. So if we go to jet controller, which is going to be our first point to use on this, so we'll put the jet controller in. Then we're going to go for intakes. Ignite. We do have quite a few intakes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's about 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, maybe a couple more. I haven't, as I've said before, not really mucked around with these a lot so far. So this is going to be a bit new, just to get the most efficiency and effectiveness. So we've got the intakes. Now we'll need the compressors. and we'll have about 8 of them. And then the combustors. Now the combustors, so basically got the air take is in, then the compressors basically compress all of the air, and then it gets combusted in the combustion chamber. Now I'm just going for like a 2-1-1, 2 intakes for 1 compressor and 1 exhaust, and I can have a muck around with these. The reason I've done it this way is it'll be easier to extend the rear sections than the front. Because if I was to move the front and change that, I've got to move where this controller is. So to start off with, I'm going to start with more items on the front than I possibly need, and we can sort that out as we go along. So now we're going to add add-ons. We're going to maximize this. So we're putting each of the add-ons that are available. Actually, let's put a mirror line on now before I forget to do that. And same down here. There we go. And they've gone on the wrong way. Why are you gone on the wrong way? Don't want you on that way. Ruddy things. Alright, that was obviously my fault. Whoops. That's better. Let's try that again, shall we? There we go, that's those ones, and then the same underneath. And there we go. Right, so that's intake. So that's going to increase the intake capacity for this. So obviously we've got no power at the moment because we won't get that until we start putting the combustors on. Sorry, the injection on the combustors. Right, so next we'll need the compressor. We've done the compressor, so we need extra jet compressor. Compress to the max. We need to compress this, the maximum possible compression. For no apparent reason whatsoever. Other than, it's better to have more than less, in theory. Because if we don't have enough, we got no one to blame but ourselves. So I'm making sure I have plenty. Right, okay, so that's those bits done, all in a line. Now, so we still have a 0 power. Now if I start adding in the fuel injector into the right place, you'll see that the max power is now going up. So that's 27,000 per injector, and also obviously the fuel also goes up now, so the fuel basically doubles for each injector I put on effectively. So we'll just put a few of those on there. We will max this out. Did I put did I put fuel on it? Yeah, I did. There we go. I must have automatically put an exhaust on there as well. Jet exhausts don't seem to have actually any effect other than cosmetics, which is fine. Got no real problem with that. They look good. You can put a few of them on there. Okay, let's have a look what power we've got now. 865,000. That should be enough. I don't know what that equates to, but hopefully that's good. If it's not good, I'd be surprised. Right, okay, now one thing I'm going to do here is put some metal around the edge. I'm also going to fill out these parts that it is connected to. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this, as well as building the skeleton up, is if you make sure that all the parts are effectively touching some sort of piece of structure, if say this bit gets blown up, not everything is suddenly going to disappear and have to get rebuilt, which would be a pain. because obviously that would take a lot of resources to get all rebuilt again. So by doing this, we're making sure that everything, all the engine will stay intact in case of damage. Well, I say intact, at least not completely and utterly be destroyed. Where can we go? Let's go here. Yeah, that looks good. That's setting up a nice bit of structure for this. Now, I don't want to make this just a long tube, another dart, although, yeah, actually, dart might be okay. If I go take that one out and put that block there? Yes, I can. Good. Because that will keep it. Oh no! 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 We need that block back. Need the block back. But what I could do is do it that way. Put that one in there. There we go. That's better. Even. It's not sticking out anymore. There we go. There we go. My symmetry is correct. Yeah, so one thing I do want this to be is symmetrical. I want to try and keep this. There was a reason for that. I want to try and go for slightly, not necessarily dart, but I've got a shape in mind. The one I'm thinking of is actually from a cartoon sort of thing, but was more triangular. But I can't. I'm not going to do triangles. But I do want to do a symmetrical, possibly a finned sort of shape. Would be nice and interesting. So, okay, so we've got the engine here. Now, we're somewhere, let's say, around here. Maybe just after the engine in some way. We'll think about possibly putting in the AI, potentially. Now, next, up front, is basically going to be gun. I think a fair bit of gun, not as big as in our epic ship, but a gun nonetheless. Something with a bit of a, well, the shape of a gun, basically. It's strange that, you know. So a custom cannon. We'll have it possibly coming out the centre. So let's see if I come a little bit like that. Yeah, that looks interesting. That looks interesting. So come down there and there. Yes. Yes, that's sort of looking good. And then the cannon can just basically stick out this bit out the front. Yeah, okay, not too bad, not too bad. Now, okay, how am I going to fit these ones in? They're going to be a bit more difficult to shape in. We might need to use some of the alternative blocks, so I'll leave that bit at the moment. That can always be done a little bit later. Maybe put... Yeah, that's okay. That's helping the shape to a degree, and then we can shape something in there just to finalize it up a little bit, because we do need a bit of structure on the front. I guess with having a point on this, we could also make it slightly rammy. Okay, right, so we've got this section here. Now let's also think a little bit about the shape again, just to give it a bit more how I envision possibly this looking a bit. Liking this so far. And if we come in a couple, not too quickly. Is that not... okay, what if this goes out a little bit more? Oh, no, I have another idea. I think we can make that big, but what if we put put some. We need some movement in this. Yes, we need some movement. Otherwise, it's going to be bland. Can't have a bland ship. Can't have something that's not overly complex. I need more complexity. That's what we need. We need the ship to be more complex than it needs to, just because. Now, I think I'm going to, for the cannon, especially when we're looking at that thing, I'm going to need some more width here. So let's build this out a little bit more so it's coming in evenly. Okay, coming in here like that. Yeah, okay, let's see how that looks from on top. Slightly dark shape, but not too bad. I'm okay with that. That's it's reasonable. I think we'll be able to fit a reasonable gun in the front, and what we'll do is I'm mostly not going to make this totally circular. This is going to be more like a fin in some ways. We'll fit engines and other bits we need in these sections along the side. Now, okay, I need to duplicate this up above so that it becomes sort of even. Is this gonna go here? I need some support at the back here, I'm reckoning. Always reckoning. Let's just put some metal blocks in here just to make sure that clicking a button doesn't mean the whole thing just disappears on me, which I've had before. Set up whole sections, destroyed the wrong block, and the whole thing just goes into the water, and I go, no, that's not what I wanted. But hopefully not going to do that this time. Right, okay, so now what I'm going to do, let's try and set up a mirror line about here. No, that's not going to work. Let's go here. Right, is that the right level? Yes, that is. So we're going to try and keep this in a four-way symmetry. Now, the game itself doesn't give us four-way symmetry. Okay, so that's the shape roughly we're going for. It actually reminds me of a sabot, sort of a sabot dart. Or if I put ends on there, that'd be a Star Wars Camino dart, wouldn't it? If I just changed it a little bit, I think. Made those stick out a bit. But we won't do that, I don't think. Although, maybe. Maybe later. Maybe later. We'll have I have another thought. This could be interesting. Yes, got it. My attempt to find something more interesting shall be challenged, shall we say? Right, okay, so what shall we look at next? Now we're going to need, I'm going to go back to a normal symmetry here. Normal central line. One thing we'll possibly need is an engine, just to provide normal sort of power for ammo blocks and items like that. We will also need some ion engines in this for allow it to go into orbital, because I do want to make this an orbital craft. So let's see, an engine could be 3 high, which is about there, so about this level here. If we come out here, I'm going to start this with metal just as a starting point, and as a like a I'm going to say secure point for it. And then we're going to need to go along the top as well, I think, just to make sure it's all nice and even. Whoops. Nope, go away. Thank you. There we go. And then if we now put the rest of it as light alloy, which is more expensive, it's still got a reasonable armor protection, but not as good as a good old metal. But a hell of a lot lighter, which will be good for us, because I want to get speed. Now I don't know what speed we'll get up to on this, but I'd like to get some reasonable amount. Whoops. Yes, I should be using keyboard mode and using a fill. Don't know why everyone has to have a go at fill. I think Bob is perfectly adequate, but I should be using fill. Right, let's think. Before I finish this, I've just had a thought of something I need to put in place. Resources wise, this is going to need a whole load of oil. So I should be doing one thing at a time, but I want to block this off, and if I don't do this now, I'll forget. So we're going to put the oil in here to give ourselves a fair bit of oil to power this engine. Now, when it comes to the oil and oil usage, we're going to have to gauge how much oil is required and have it so that it has a economy mode at some point. Now we'll block those off with some blocks, because otherwise that wouldn't then be blocking it off, it would be not blocking it off. So anyway, I'm rambling and it's not level. Let's start at this end. There we go. Blocking it off with alloy. There we go. Right, fine, done. Right, engine. Let's start the engine up here. We'll start it on this bit of metal. Engine block. How much room are we going to need? Have I actually given myself enough room here? We need, let's see, crank, block, cover it. I haven't given myself enough room. I should really, or I'm going to have to go back a little and not have the engine quite as big. Tempting to, decision. So width wise, for the width, and this is the smallest area, I need fuel tank, carburetor, cylinder, crankshaft. So that's actually going to be the center point, and I need 3 that way. Yeah, I'm not giving myself enough room here. Which is to make this more bulky than I would like. Oh, Murphy me. Okay, that's a little better. So if I start it just here, let's try that. Let's try this again, shall we? So start it 3 in. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's start it just there. We only need to give ourselves a fair bit of crankshaft. Down possibly most of the way to the end. Is that I haven't given myself enough room there. I need 3. 1, 2. No. Wrong place. Start again. There. Let's try it at that point instead. There we go. Happier now. Almost to the end. Right, now we'll go back to this mode. Let's just make sure that that is connected just by putting a cylinder in. So if I put a cylinder there, it should say connected. Yes, there we go. So just make sure we got enough So we're leaving a gap in between. So this is going to be like a bit of a really big boxer style engine, for want of a better word. Now we're going to have two engines, which is handy because that means that if one engine gets hit, we're not going to lose all power, which is a good thing to have in an engine that's going to be taking a bit of damage, because it's not going to be totally immune from being hit by whatever we're fighting. So we are expecting to take various damages. And I think it's good to, when you're designing ships, to have, well, build in some resiliency, just to make sure. You know, it's terrible when one hit basically takes out your craft. Basically, it's not good at all. It means you didn't really build in enough resiliency. So, okay, there we go. Now on the tops. I haven't really researched the most efficient way of doing this sort of a lowish boxer engine, and I can most probably have a bit of mucking around between superchargers and fuel tanks, but we're just going to go for a relatively simple design. Now I'd like putting the superchargers where they get the maximum number of cylinders and carburetors, so that's why I'm putting them there. Now I could also put them down in those other points, so I'm putting them where there's 3 carburetors connected. Now let's just put plenty of fuel tanks, because the ratio of fuel tanks to other parts is important. Yes, I know I've missed the front block, which I'm going to go and do in a second. What I mean by the front block is the one down here. There. Nope. Right, let's go and do the other side. Hello. Have a block. Have a block. I'll do that block whilst I'm here this time, because I can get to it a little easier. Did I fill in that one? Yes, I did. There's one other I haven't filled in, and that's in the very centre. And if I do need a little extra power, I think this will be enough for what I need here. We'll see how much we're actually getting. And yes, because I can always go through and start putting an extra cylinder in this centre, and then put some more carburetors in, etc. Make it a triple sort of design, and that will give us a bit more power. So what have we got? We've got 8,300, so that's 16,000 power. That's more than I was anticipating. Quite a bit more, actually. I was only really thinking of 8,000, but I've obviously gone more efficient than I expected. Yeah, I was expecting 4 each. Now, it's not because of the influence of my character there, is it? Anyway, let's now... We've got to think of this here. We'll still bring this up at this point, so that it's not... There we go. So that's going to be there. But then these points are going to have to be a bit more... Can't come in straight there. Okay, let's bring it into this point. Where can I get there? That's okay. So the engines are going to be a little bit vulnerable. At the moment, there's not much between them and an incoming shot. So, I don't want to upset the symmetry, man. I don't want to upset the symmetry. So let's go through, because we've got up and down symmetry I have to think of as well here. So we'll just put some blocks in there just to fill that bit in a little. There we go. Oh, okay. Actually, up on this top, I can put proper blocks in actually up here by the looks of it, which is good. There we go. That's in there quite nicely. We can go up a little bit more maybe. Let's see how far. We've got 2, so the next one down is just all at this level. So that's 2 up there. And then across. I'll leave that gap. Is there a gap? Yes, there is a gap just there. Now, if I'm sensible here, I can try and do this. No, come on, gimme. No, you're not gonna give me. Some days it just doesn't quite. There we go. There we go. That's better. That's better. Okay. Let's just try that one more time. Yes, that's nice. That sort of works. So those 2 are there. Now I should really make the symmetry up and down as well, so that it is all fairly neat and well, symmetrical. As much as possible, I'd like to have this. You can't tell which is up and down. It's just going to be a rotating, firing sort of missile spewing sort of entity, and we have no idea which way's up, down, left, right, or anything in between. So let me just see about. Now I haven't got to worry about setting all of this up. I think I can just duplicate some of it. But let me put the mirror line on, and I'll be back once I have set up this part of it. So back in a minute. Okay, so they're nice and symmetrical now. So now we'll fill in this a little bit later. I can use this for some ammo storage, and that's not 100% there. Some ammo storage and other bits in the future, I think, in there. I don't know why that was exactly like that, so let's just go down. There's obviously some extra blocks had got in there somehow. Yeah, let's take those out. There we go. So we can use that for other purposes, I think. I'll do that once we've done later. I'm just trying to think what we could add in there. Top one, possibly ammo storage, maybe anti-missile, or even more ammo storage in below. So let's look at, what can we look at next? Let's look at here. I was thinking about an AI. So let's get that in there here now, because that could be useful to have for our setting up the cannon, etc. So what we're going to need, we're going to need a couple of left and right slots. We're going to need obviously an aerial AI and a target precision, and we'll possibly go for aim point selection. And what else would we need? Patrol card? No, well, I think that might be it for the moment. We might need a water start. I'll put that in just in case. We might need to put some balloons in just to get it out of the water. We'll see how that works. Now we can see the engine is already going for it, using all our fuel up, which is wonderful. Right, let's just have a quick little check of rough speed at the moment. Didn't see what that got to. Let's give that another go and stay targeting it at the same time. Okay, so from at start, let's just get the altitude up. Is that now as high as it's going to go? Right here, 196. For such a large item. That's not bad at all. Now with fuel, one thing I want to do, I want to just test this. I was just thinking of having a fuel saving mode. Now what we can do for that is use control blocks. So if we go control, automated control block, and we'll put one in either side just for the moment. So we can say propulsion system within, let's say about 5, see if that does, set drive fraction to be half. Has that taken, there we go, so power scaling is half, which also means fuel consumption is half, so 1920. Now I want to be able to produce enough fuel to restock, because you'll notice the fuel didn't last that long. So what I'm going to need is a fuel processors, and we're going to stack them down here. Let's go in symmetry mode, so that at 50% power it will just be producing a bit of fuel. So where can we put them? Where can we put the oil down here, didn't we? That's all full of oil in there. Yep. So let's go the other side of that. Now, can I put them in here? I can't put them there. Okay, well we can put them in between on the engines, between the fuel pump, fuel supplies on the engines. Let's just see how many we need. So we start here. See, that's producing a bit of fuel. Actually, that's producing more fuel than it's using. Is that all? I really expected more. To need more. We'll put a few more in. Just like that. Now, because now if we put the wrong word, the propulsion, so limit of 5, propulsion, set drive fraction 1, test, we're still producing fuel. Okay, we don't need so much then. Let's take one. I'm just interested how many it takes, and we're still producing fuel, and we're no longer producing fuel. That's a slight lack of fuel. Well, okay, that's okay then. So we'll do that, and then when it goes down to 50%, it starts building the fuel up again. Yeah, I like that. That'll limit its fuel usage without being excessive. So we can, for the moment, what we'll do. And what speed is that going to set it at? Just out of interest. That's still 140. So yeah, we'll set it. I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. So this is going to have to fly at that, fly about that sort of speed in cruise mode. And cruise, let's just sort this out here. Cruise altitude is going to be around 400, and we might have control blocks change that value depending if it wants to go at various into space, etc. Minimum we'll set at 200, don't want it too low. And I might put some vectoring, some sort of vector thrust. But next, let's have a look at cannon. Yep, definitely cannon. Definitely cannon. Now, I think we're going to need a bit more width for this cannon. So let's just see about... yeah, I'm going to go... Let's take these bits out for the moment. We'll leave the one and this one at the bottom. I'm going to put that one back because that one is potentially more necessary than the other one. There we go. That's symmetrical. Right, okay. Cannon. First thing we're going to need under the custom cannons is a firing piece. Where are we going to mount the firing piece? Where is the center? It's just there. And it means we're going to need a block to put the firing piece on. So let's just put one underneath here, just so that it sticks out enough to put the firing piece on. Although actually I want it, where's it got to go? Just there. Yeah, okay, that's fine, that's fine. We will... What if I put the local weapon controller straight underneath the AI? That means I haven't got to worry about a transmitter. And failsafe on the back of it. That looks good. Yep, okay. Now I can put a metal block in here and just behind. And our firing piece can then go on here. Don't put some more metal blocks on at this point, because I'm thinking when we get this, we want a bit of protection just in case we get a bit of an explosion going through, because there's going to be a lot of ammo barrels and other bits there. We want a bit of protection for our AI core, because if the AI goes boom, the rest of the ship is not going to be happy, to say the least. It will be less than pleased about the situation of the boom. So we're going to have that. That's our point there. So firing piece. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Custom cannon. Firing piece. There we go. Now, I'm actually now thinking, though, of having this go forward. So then go into that spot. There we go. Yep. And also here, because that will protect the barrel, which we're next going to put on. Now, the barrel I want as a 45 degree in the center. So, yep, and then if we go for, that's about 15, then we'll go for normal barrels. And then we'll put some recoilless. Right, let's see what that gives us as far as accuracy, etc. goes. Accuracy, 0.009, 45 degree. Which is also good. I'm not too worried about. I think we could go for less. This is going to be a very much directly in front. Okay, that's about as small as I'm going to want to go. 22%. Take one off, and we get a little bit more shooting range, i.e., deflection. But okay, that's fine. Okay with those figures. Now let's get some 6-way connectors in so we can start putting other parts onto this gun. Now we're going to have them mainly going forward at this moment. Up to about there, should be good. Then we're going to come out a bit, maybe even going up. We'll see how we go. Right, first of all, on the front, because we're going to think about damage here, we're going to put our gauges, because our gauges fairly much don't get damaged. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 6, 4, that's an 8 gauge gun, so that's good. Yep, okay, no problem with that. Now I want fast firing, so first thing is gonna be get this to fire quickly. Let's go for 4 auto loaders with associated ammo boxes, because this is going to come in for a run with its gun. And 0.37, I think that's the maximum. If I take one off, does that change it? No, it's still at 0.37. Okay, we'll put that on there just for support, but that seems to be a maximum. We'll fill in this bit with some more, just so that it's got some ammo, so it doesn't have to resupply quite as quickly in the gun. So yeah, this is going to charge in, bang bang bang, then zoom off again, and it will actually make the noise bang bang bang. Honest, yeah, it really will, Okay, yeah, maybe not. Right, there's a lot of explosive parts there. So what if we use a bit of metal just to cover that bit up a little. Just to prevent act as like a bit of a fire break, for want of a better word. I know it's not really a fire break. And what we do is we might put the explosive, next most important thing, armor piercing. We want armor piercing, please, sir. So advanced cannon, not advanced cannons, custom cannons. Armor piercing. I can keep this relatively small and compact. Let's just see if I just load this up with armor piercing, because armor piercing doesn't explode if it gets damaged, so that's good, whereas the other parts go boom. So let's just see what ammo rating we get with that. Nice and simple. 12.8, that's good enough because it's replicated over that side as well. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Cool. Just filling in that gap now that it looks better. It looks nicer if it's sort of carrying that sort of process all the way backwards. I like that. We'll just put a couple more in there. Okay, we'll put a little bit of explosive maybe. Let's get rid of that one. We'll put some explosive ones on the back just to give it a little bit of explosive ability. Because that's a new word, explosive ability. Didn't you know that was a word? Explosive ability? It must be a word. I'm English and I said it. Therefore, it is now a word. So, kinetic damage, 1100. That's not too bad. AP at 12.8. Reasonable reload time. And it's got enough ammo to shoot pretty quickly and pretty accurately. So yeah, that'll be okay. That'll be okay. Now I'm gonna armor it up a little bit more because I hate, and I really hate, hate when we get one hit and the whole cannon just blows up. It's as annoying as an annoying thing on an annoying day. Really, just annoying. So we'll put that like that, and that'll be, I'm going to say the limit to our armor, but I think that'll be good enough for the moment. Otherwise we're going to be too nose heavy. We've got to lift that nose up yet, but we can do that with jets. So that's our gun sort of sorted for our inward bound flight. Now a couple of other bits I would like to get on this before we start filling in this area here. Let's think. What else do I need? I need to make this damn thing fly. I'll wait on that. Flying is overrated, you know. Look, you know, it's going forward. It's still 136 or so meters a second. That would be quite significant. Some missile defences or missile attack maybe on the front, potentially. Certainly defensive missiles. We don't need potentially two types of defensive missiles. One is the type that defends it from missiles. We're gonna need missiles which, as it's closing with the enemy, if the enemy fires any missiles at it, it sends out a sheaf of very high speed, because this is going at high speed, so any of our missiles have got to go faster than this is going. So high speed interceptors out the front. So we might put a ring of them around here. So where have we got that's sort of a ring shaped? And that's going to be a 3. I think we're going to need a 3-block missile, because it's going to have to be pretty fast. It's going to need a variable thruster. It's going to be fairly short range. So this is just firing lots of missiles at fairly short range. Anything that gets within a fairly close area of it. That should be fine. Yeah, so 3-block. So we could have like a variable thrust, a couple of fins. Let's see, 3 blocks together 6. Variable thrust, couple of fuel, couple of fins. Interceptor head. Yep, that'll be fine. Okay. Right, we could get some in here. If I take that one off there, I've got them. If I do this, want them all to be linked together, which is easier said than done. Okay. Let's start with the missile 6-way. So let's assume that's going to be the center. 2, 3. So this would be the point where everything has to join together. We're going to have quite a few of these, by the looks of it. It's going to add up to not insignificant. We can take that one off there. Ooh, hang on. That's exposing at the. Oh no, I'm okay with that. That's. Yeah, no, I'm not okay with that. I don't want to have the gun exposed. Okay, let's make 2. So nice to have an undo button, you know. Right, let's make this a little higher. Won't have it just there. I've decided. I think we need it next one up. So we're going to have it. Let's set up the potential area. It's going to go through there. It's going to go through there. It's going to go through there. And we're going to need there. Bomb down. Make that a 3. Make that 3. Now 3. Oops, I didn't armor up down here. I forgot the armor at the bottom. That's not good. If it blows up underneath, because I forgot, because we're going to be attacked mainly from underneath on this, so we've got to make sure we're covered on the underneath part. That looks good. That looks good. So now I can put them in. Well, have it sticking out by 1. That's fine. Okay, I'm okay with that. Now I can either just go all the way around, or I could have 2 systems. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 11 missiles, and then I could have the same on the bottom. Yeah, okay, I like that. I like that. So 2 sets of 11 I think would be good. Might take the one out of the corner actually and just make it 2 sets of 9 actually. Right, let's get the launch pad. So we'll start with on the top. Now I can do it like that. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 14. That's 14, and I can make that shape a little bit better rather than having. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Like it. I like it. Right. I don't think it really matters too much which way I put that, but it does for my sensibility. Right. Right. What I can do is just put a block underneath there and there. And these ones underneath. Oh, I didn't actually make them 100%. There's more on the bottom than on the top, so should I have them? No, let's take these ones out. Yeah, let's take these ones out on the bottom one. There we go. Right, and you need the block there and a block there. Where's the other block needed? Just there. There we go. Okay, let's just set these up. So, missiles, controller with, okay, we will need a staggered fire. Yes, I realise it's going to duplicate it and I don't necessarily need it duplicated, but hey ho, never mind, eh? And then we will need a control block. Let's go and put the same down here. So we need a control block, and we're going to need the launch pad and the staggered fire. We'll leave that at 0.1 each, so that's a 0.2 delay, so they'll fire fairly quickly, and they're going to be set up like so. What I'm thinking is the interceptor on the front, obviously, then a couple of fins, a variable thruster. Where's my variable thruster? It is down here somewhere, and then a couple of fuel. There we go. Now the variable thruster is going to be set at a fairly high, say, let's try 4,000. Ramp up time 0, want it straight away. Warhead delay is 0.2, so it's fairly much almost as soon as it comes out, maybe a little bit more than that. 0.4. Guidance delay straight away. And the ones on the bottom, we'll set them up almost identically. Why is that not registered? Did I put the wrong item there? Missile block. No, I put a connector there. Missile controller. That's the one I'm after. These ones I will set up almost identically. Fins. Variable. This. Let's just sort that one out first. Fuel. Interceptor. And we'll set this up to be 0 ramp time. Maybe a little slower. 3,000. Thank you. Warhead delay 0.5. Yep. Okay, and we'll set these up at slightly different ranges. So this is going to be a very close range one. So if hostile missile is closer than 500 meters. One weapon system within 2 fire, but then make that actually 400, and the bottom one will make 500. Hostile missile 500, weapon system fire. Okay. So that's those bits done. That should just help with any missiles that are coming towards me. I'm going to put another missile system on the rear potentially to shoot backwards at any missiles which are following onto us, and also some shields, some flares of some description. Right, what else do I need on there? So that's armament. Defenses, some energy. Right, we need more power. We're gonna have to, let's fill this back part in here. Okay, can't do that. 1, 2, okay. Okay, that's the even on each of them then that way. It's the same as the blocks going up and down, so it's easier to work that out. It just feels at the bottom. I just didn't like them sort of sticking it out there as such. Out there in the wind. Great big hole. Can't have a great big hole in your ship. It's not going to be good, having a hole. Right, I think, okay, I'm just looking at shapes now. How am I going to shape this? Now, I need this to be doing some inlets about here. So we have an inlet going into the engine, just for aesthetics reasons. I need to shape this a little bit, just to get a bit of flow into that section. Otherwise, this is going to be, yeah, I'm going to need things like some smoke, but we've got plume here. Once I start moving this over a little bit to put smoke detector and smoke dispensers is the right word, smoke dispensers in here, so that should be alright. And we're going so damn fast, I don't think smoke's gonna stay with us basically. Right, let me just try and shape out this body a little bit, I think, on here, and potentially also try and get it flying, because that would also be a big bonus if it actually flew. So let me just have a work on that, and I will have a think about a few bits and pieces and be back soon. And welcome back. And I've done a fair bit of work, had a little break and on this ship, got the body sorted. I've also sorted out a whole load new weapon systems. It's looking like very much like a Sabo at the moment, a Sabo dial, so I've actually called this the SabotBomber. I need to get some paint work on it, etc. at the moment. But generally, we've got these pods, because we've got the gun in the front, but what I've now done is I have put missiles into the winglets on each side. On the top, each side, and the bottom. Now, each missile system is slightly different. They've all got their own particular requirements. Some of them are laser guided, so these are close range missiles, so almost as it's going over the top of an item, it would launch these. So we've got some infrared missiles on the top with a 1 turn. Then on the side, this side we've got an EMP explosive laser guided missiles, and on this side we've got frag and explosive laser guided. And on the bottom we have some fragmented and slightly more agile laser frag missiles. Now, the system itself, it will go at various heights. It was in orbit a minute ago. It's just coming down at this moment on the height. For whatever reason, it's feeling like it wants to be at a slightly lower altitude. We'll see what it's set for at this second. Basically, we've got some control blocks. So we've got the main AI is set for a minimum altitude, no roll. It will purely done with side thrusters, so we've got no roll ability. And we've got a fairly close attack, fairly long attack run, 1500 meters, so it'll go out quite far. We've then got some control blocks. It's going back up into space by the looks of it now. We have some control blocks underneath which control the height based upon range. So if there's no enemies or everyone's really far away, it will try to go up into space, about 1800. If we're getting enemies are far away but not quite 3,500, so we're getting a little closer, it will start coming down to 1200, and then for its actual attack run at 1500 it will go down to 300 meters. So that's the height control done with the control blocks. Now on its attack run at that 1500 meters, we've got some forward firing missiles, and again I've done 4 different types at the different areas, all roughly done a fire at roughly 1200 to 1500 meters. On the top we just have a simple infrared with some EMP and fragment, but quite fast, because the ship's going to be going quite fast. The variable thrusters actually set at 3000, so that they're actually a bit faster than the ship. On the side, these are just a laser guided, designated laser guided missile. On the bottom we have a single pixel IR, so there's no one turn on these. They're a little bit faster. Again, 4000 on the speed. These are a high-speed interceptor against aimed at trying to go against flying targets, possibly any agile flying targets, etc. So plenty of fins and plenty of speed. And then on the other side, what we do have is some thumpers. Now these are a laser beam rider with a thumper warhead. They're not quite as fast as I would like. But they do a quite job. Now at the moment it has got a bit of a tendency, as you'll see, to go sort of up then down, up. It's sort of a bit of a sine wave at the moment. It's not steady at some time, and I'm not sure if that's the AI keep on changing or other bits. So okay, speed wise, when it's in space in its climb mode, it only goes about 30 meters a second, which is not great, to be frankly honest. It's not a great speed, and I think this up and down at the moment is because it's trying to get to its fleet height, which is only over there, low to the ground, so that's why it's keeps on going up and down at the moment. Right, so let's see how it does in an attack run. Let's give it a quick little target. We'll give it a the good old deep water guard Marauder. Just see what damage it does in a pass on the Marauder. I think he's gone onto ground, but it doesn't really matter. So we can also see what speeds we get up to. So it's going at about 40. It's going up a little bit at the moment, going to its attack height. So we just see this from the perspective of our ship at the moment on this first attack run. So it's getting up some speed at the moment. Main gun is now firing, which is at about 2000 meters. Now because it's a bit high, they might not track very well, because the aiming AI isn't great when you're in space or the edge of space. Okay, now all of those first level missiles are now firing and going into the target. So we've already done... We've actually killed it. It didn't need all these other missiles, which are now deploying. And one of them there is deploying with a delay, which I didn't want from these, so we'll have a look at that in a second. So okay, so we killed that in one pass. Let's give ourselves something a little harder once I've just sorted out that delay, which I don't want from these missiles. So back in a second. So I've brought in a little Plunderer. Yes, it's on land, but that's not really a problem at the moment. So it's a little bit more difficult a target, but more size-wise, so we can see what it actually does. So we can see it. We'll see it from this angle. What the attack's like. So it's coming in for his diving attack now. There's a first set of missiles coming down. Hopefully should impact quite happily all over the place. Second set, that's the thumpers going straight into the center. Another set just caught up, and we've got some more coming in. It's definitely having a good attack run at it. And now the other missiles didn't actually deploy at that second, which is interesting. So it's going out for another attack run at this moment, and then it will come back. And in actual fact, it's AI dead. That first run again killed it off in one. So we need something a bit more substantial, because it's blowing it up in one attack run. Let's let the ship go and repair itself, and we'll come back for another attack on something a little bit bigger. So we're going to give it something a little bit more difficult. So we're going to give it an Alcazar, which could be interesting because it actually does have a LAM system in it as well. It's grounded itself again, but as I say, I'm not too worried about that. We're looking at the damage this does in a pass. So now the Alcazar is quite a big vessel, 1,200 or 12,000. Is that 1,000? Yeah, 12,000 blocks, isn't it? So yep. Fair few RP as well, so this is quite a large target. Now it is not in the water, so that's a slight advantage for us, but it's got some big guns, so our shields have got to be able to stand up to this sort of damage. But hopefully we'll see the whole attack run. Now it has got a few little problems with land getting a little too low on occasion. But are we taking some... Oh no, that's it shot itself actually at that point. Now I have restricted our guns. We could shoot a little bit sooner than I've set them at the moment. But what I found is when we were in space, i.e. above about 800 meters, or 700 actually, when you're above about 700, it's not very accurate. Basically, there's a certain drop-off which is not being accounted for in the... missiles by the cannon AI, so it basically shoots everything a little short. I've got a little bit of a stutter at the moment, so I do apologise about that. We'll just let this attack run go through, and then we should be able to see how that does. Come on, it's taken a little while to come in, because he's in his slow mode, just trying to gain height and stay at that right altitude. As I say, in space he's not fast, but he's fairly... he's not going to get hit too much. Right, okay, should be in range now. He's going to be coming in now. I'm expecting some fire. There's some missiles coming in, and we've got cannon shots coming in as well. So first salvo of missiles. So took some of them out, but a lot of them got through. And now we should see the main bomb drop. So that was 3-1. We got one which is still on a slight delay. But they're all coming in quite nicely. So what's that done? So in one bomb run we've taken from 1100 down to 10.7, so that's a good number of hits, and it's all in key areas generally. We've taken out, it goes for a lot of the key points on the ship, and then it goes out and it comes back again for another bomb run. So we'll just let it go. I'll come back on its next bomb run and we'll see how it's like when it's... Oh, it's actually turned around fairly quickly. So let's just see this next attack run. Okay, looks like our main engines have fired. It should be coming in, and we should have some cannon shells coming in here, I think, any second. We've got missiles inbound. That's the first set of missiles gone inbound. Second set, looks like a fair few of them got through as well. I haven't cured that one set which is still on a time delay, which looks like it's the left hand side. I'll have to see, there's another timer delay. But yeah, we've still got quite a few missiles, and it's sped up just as it went across, just to avoid some of the fire, which makes it a little bit more difficult to attack. Now it's not great against lasers, I will say that. That is one of its, you can see it's just taking off again, one of its downside. But now we're down to 10,000. It's slowly taking it out. I need to sort out that one other time delay, but otherwise I'm sort of happy. As with all of the ships, and it seems in the game and generally, it's got a little bigger than expected. I'll just get rid of the Alcazar, see if that will get rid of that little stutter that we were getting. Yeah, it seems to have improved it a little bit. So there's obviously there's a delay on here somewhere. I thought I had got rid of the only one that was there, but for some reason it's still putting a delay in here for some reason. And I can't see why. That's a friend or foe. I haven't got a delay in here, no. That's not got no delay on it. Somewhere along here, I'm going to have to have a look around. Somewhere connected to this is a delay, and it's affecting... I know where it is. Yeah, I know where it is. It's this one is touching these. So it's having an effect. Oh, that's an interesting little quirk. That one there is affecting the other set of missiles because it was down here, I think. Interesting little conundrum there. Never mind. One of those little items just to give some issues. There we go. Right, that should solve that one. So lasers wise, it has got some smoke in there, but it doesn't do great against lasers. If we give it some sort of lightning hood, let's say we go against what should we go against? Thunderbird. I think that's a reasonable ship to go against. It's got some lasers. It's also a flying target. So you can see we're taking laser damage. We have got smoke coming up, but you know, because we're fast, we tend to outrun our smoke very quickly. We haven't got that much armor as well. We are shooting back, so we've got some missiles going out to try and take him out now, which is good, although he's got quite a bit of abilities in that regard. So yeah, we do take damage from lasers. So we've gone up to about medium speed now, 90 meters a second. Let's just have a look at see how that goes. So that's about our cruise speed actually. Then we'll accelerate just as it's coming in. So we just have a look at this against this Thunderbird. You can see, although we are putting smoke up, it's not as effective as I would like. We either need more smoke, but some of it is we're just outrunning the smoke very quickly. As you can see, it's being left behind, which it's nowhere near where we are. So that side of it is a problem for this particular vessel. I'm not sure the best way around that at this moment. Do I slow it up, or just make it work a little bit better? We'll just destroy that for the moment. So yeah, smoke, more smoke, potentially, or because there's very little other else you can do against smoke, because speed has no effect. So even though I can go up, this has got quite a high speed, 140 I think is the maximum I've seen it go up to at the moment. Because lasers have infinite range, infinite damage, not infinite, but you know, effectively really high damage, really high AP. There's no point in having extra blocks. Smoke is the only thing, but then if you go fast, your smoke doesn't work. Bit of a problem with that. But anyway, I'll let it repair, and then we'll save it, and then I'll colour it up before I bring it into the game. So this is a bit bigger than I wanted. Size-wise, we've gone up to, what is it, 6,000 blocks. That's a lot bigger than I was hoping. A lot bigger. But it has got a custom engine, and I quite like it. You know, we've got a little inlet bay here for the engine, so the engine will suck in all of the air. And we have used a custom jet, which is one of those things I wanted to experiment with. So not bad at all. It does quite well against non-laser targets as a bomber, so I'm thinking the steel striders it could do quite well against. I think we might bring it in when we go against them, but I think it's still going to be lacking when it comes to the Scarlet Dawn, which is a heavy, a very laser orientated group. And I also, because I didn't get something that I did want to build, I want to build a smaller version, a much smaller, less weapons, and try and get the block count down to 1,000, maybe 2,000, something like that, 1,500, not 6,000. So I want to build something a bit smaller. The other final bit is our advanced guns. Once they are in, this cannon here will be replaced with an advanced gun, and we'll use this diving attack this has for that gun to hopefully, when it comes in, it will come down and we'll have a bit of an A10 style auto cannon ready to blow the crap out of whatever target we're aiming at. That is the intention at the moment. But until next time, as always, comments below. Give me some ideas. What do you think with smoke? Against smoke, is it better to have... sorry, against smoke. Against lasers, I meant to say. Is it better to have... forget about making fast vessels. Make a slow vessel that's just got tons and tons and tons of smoke and can kill off whatever is coming at it before they kill it, because these flying ships, I'm just not getting much success with them with anti-laser. So comments and your views on the best way or the best type of ship and ship design for laser against laser factions would be useful to know what you think. My view, actually, I think, is to forget about flying ships and go for a surface ship, or if it is a flying ship, it's a very slow flying ship, but its main bit is lots and lots of smoke. But anyway, your thoughts on that are greatly appreciated. But until next time, keep building and have fun.